What is going on, guys? MrBayeasy here, and today we're doing some more All For You. Today, we've already done this chick's route as well as Latifah's route, so now we're going to move on and probably do her route. And again, I forget her name. I don't know why I keep forgetting her name. I know this girl's Kayla, I know this girl's Benny, and again, I keep wanting to call this girl Cassie, so I might just end up calling her that. But either way, let me know what you've been thinking about it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you think of this series thus far, even though all we're really getting is some beta gameplay. But either way, or some demo gameplay rather. Either way, I'd love to hear what you have to say early on, so like your first opinions and even some of your theories about what this game could possibly end up being like or about in the long run, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, let's go ahead and get it kicked off. I realized that it was looking like I was picking her nose with the key, but either way, let's get it started. You know what? I will do one thing different. Visit the mall, because visiting them, we haven't done that yet. We've played Cherry Blossoms in school, we've modeled for art class, we've run the track. Studying here doesn't sound too eventful, but visiting the mall is a totally different area than, you know, the school and home. So let's check this out. Maybe we'll see if this is any different. You decided to go to the mall after school. Well, I really didn't know the school well. The mall was a familiar spot for me to not only buy new games, but also just to waste time away from my house. Not that going home was a bad thing, but going outside was good for your soul. Alright, great. What the heck? Movement, fearless, Greek fashion, Boston shoes, what the heck? What kind of mall is this? There's very few store varieties. There were actually a wide variety, doesn't look like it, of stores to go into and shop in. We had clothes, games, even a bookstore full of school textbooks at a discount. We were pretty lucky. Even if you were a lone butterfly and just wandered, there was always something to do at the mall. When you have a daily allowance from parents who were away, the idea of the mall becomes a very tantalizing idea. You could buy anything you had the cash for. I walked around and began to wander, hoping to find something that would catch my interest in the windows. Oh my god, there's a lot of shit here. Wow, there's like a whole different section. Alright, so fitness store, game store, department store? I mean, what the heck? Okay, so I guess that's clothes, I suppose? Bookstore, or we just got here. Why would we go home? Let's go to the game store. We'll see what else we can find there, man. Jeez, man, this brings back some memories. Oh, PZ4. Okay, I can dig it. What's this? The Xbox? This is like the Overwatch symbol, but it's like an Xbox or something. What does it say? Game Boy. Is that actually a Game Boy? Game Boy with an I instead of a Y and I. Game Boy. Dat boy Game Boy. The mall game store was one I often visited. I was surprised that the clerks hadn't memorized my name with how many times I'd shown up in the past. They don't give a shit. They just want to go home. They want to end their suck. I usually came for multiple games I pre-ordered or for a new system to play on. My latest buy was my portable Pocket Kiss, gross, exclusively made for dating sims and visual novels. I was insanely happy with my purchase, given the chance to play multiple games like Cherry Blossoms. It even had the capability of playing indie games as long as they were programmed correctly. I walked around and looked at some of the new games, curious if there was anything I wanted. However, I could tell from how busy the clerk was that I wasn't going to check out for a while. Maybe I would buy something tomorrow with the allowance I was getting. I browsed for a bit, taking some time to note some game titles I wanted before leaving. Well, that was fine. Oh, okay, I was going to say, that was fairly uneventful. Let's go to the department store. Yeah, why not? If we can keep going to different places, cool. Wow, 50% off on some shirts. Great. Comfort. I hope so. What the heck would it be? Like uncomfortable? Well, you can advertise some uncomfortable stuff. Some pink stuff back there, even though it's not pink. So definitely accurate. The mall's department store was surprisingly very nice. While it was a small store to begin with, it still had many outfits to look at, try on, and possibly buy. There were even outfits from local designers. I recognized some of the fancier dresses and suits from a Chicago designer that was suddenly making headlines. What was his name? Eric something? Or other? Oh, Eric! What is going on? I mean, you really do need to kind of... Maybe he's colorblind or something. I don't know. But either way, congratulations. And there it is. The confirmation that it is, in fact, the same universe. Dude, I really hope the game, when it actually comes out, actually has some, like, Easter eggs or something, like... That'd be, and I want them all over. I want them everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you flip open a rock, or you kick a blade of grass wrong, boom, Easter egg. I shook my head, letting the thought disappear from my mind, and looked around to see if there was anything I wanted. I was surprised to find only one store clerk available. She was dealing with a seemingly dissatisfied customer who wanted to return something she probably couldn't. Maybe I would buy something tomorrow with the allowance I was getting when she wasn't busy. I browsed for a bit, taking some time to compare outfits and options before leaving. Alright, cool. Okay, so we can do a bunch of different stores. Let's go to the bookstore next, and then we'll visit the fitness store and then dip. Alright. Whoa, I wish my bookstore looked this damn cool. What? Are you kidding me? This ain't no Barnes & Noble. This is some high-class stuff. Like, you can't reach this shit with your legs unless you're freaking Andre the Giant over here. You need a ladder for that. That's crazy. And there's some like straight up Mirror's Edge stuff up here. This looks really fun to run on. I know you can't do that, but that'd be cool. Look, there's a rafter you can walk on right here. What's up with that? Alright, whatever. The smell of books and fresh paper greeted me as I entered the bookstore. It was a book lover's fantasy. Everything was stacked perfectly on the shelves, and the entire store felt like a library of sorts. There were even small benches in the aisles to use for skimming through books you were interested in, or if you're cheap, just to sit there and just read read an entire book. Just come back every other day and read a little bit more. I began to slowly walk up and down the aisles, looking through the titles that lined the shelves in curiosity. Was there a book I wanted? One look at the front desk snuffed out any desire in me to buy a book. The clerk was busy dealing with a man who was holding a massive stack of books and carrying a massive attitude. I feel like that, I don't know why, but I feel like it's James. We might get another Easter egg right here. This was going to take a while. Maybe I could buy something tomorrow with the allowance I was getting. Oh, dang it. Okay, come on now. I browsed for a bit, taking some time to mentally note some books before leaving. I feel like everyone's always going to be busy. You might as well just stick it out and stay there and buy something, you know what I'm saying? Especially we should like head back to the game store. What happens if we do that? I stepped back inside the game store hoping to buy something. There were a bunch of gamers at the front desk, caught in a conversation with the manager about a certain shooter game that everyone seemed to be raving about. And I knew full well not to bother trying to intervene. I decided to leave. I could try again tomorrow, hopefully the clerk would be available to check people out. What if we go back in? I stepped back inside the game store hoping to buy something? Okay. It's the same thing. Never mind. Okay, so here is where we can essentially move to the next chick. So I skipped all this stuff because it was all the stuff you've seen before, you know, putting on an outfit, whatnot. And I told them about my game. That's just so you know the choice I made. But I really doubt that's going to affect anything. But we're going to go to the courtyard and see this chick, okay? Now, we're going to have to be careful, though, when we go through this the second time, because this girl doesn't have a dedicated encounter. She's, like, there with everybody else. So we'll have to kind of skim through, or I'll have to and be very, very careful about skipping too much, because at any moment she could notice us, you know what I'm saying? She doesn't really notice us up until like that other chick, Benny, sees our game. So, but she might notice us when she's taking pictures out the first time we see her by the gate. Who knows? But let's go to the courtyard and check it out. See what that's all about. I decided not to remain cooped up in the cafeteria and began to wander the school. It was a new place, so I had to explore it as much as I could before graduation. I knew that they had a courtyard, which was a big surprise to me when I first found out. I wondered how it looked. Stepping out of the appropriate doors to the courtyard, I couldn't help but take in the large breath of fresh air that invaded my senses. Everything looked surprisingly well kept for what I imagined a public school to have. Maybe I was too lost in the memory of my privileges in private school that I didn't expect good maintenance of schools not funded directly by tuition. Nevertheless, I walked into the courtyard and took in the sights around me. It was a surprisingly quiet and peaceful place. Not many students were there. A solitary moment for myself. I let a smile grow on my face and sat down on the grass, looking up at the sky before leaning back and finally laying on the ground in submission. Ew, to relaxation. The space was so nice. I didn't fight back as my eyelids closed and I dozed off into my own daydreams. Dude, we're gonna sleep through lunch. Say, Dot, what the fuck? Another Dot? Oh, we're busting at this point. Excuse me? Damn, bitch, can you, what's up with that fucking shit lip? What's going on? When I opened my eyes, I froze. I was shocked to see a very irritated woman staring down at me with her arms crossed tightly over her chest. Well, did I do something wrong? Hello?
Hello. Can you please move from my spot now?
Damn, bitch, how about you take that dog collar off first? Her spot? I grew even more confused as I sat up and looked at her in disbelief. Wait, your spot?
Yes. I typically sit there during my lunch break, but since you were sleeping there, I had to enjoy my lunch on the bench instead. I at least want to enjoy my spot for a moment before class starts again, if you would be so kind.
Bitch, first of all, I don't see your ass cheek imprints with your initials on them. And second of all, you could have just sat on me. You know what I'm saying? Sheesh, I didn't know it was such a big deal with her. At least she let me sleep for a little bit. And then back to this normal with slight shit lip. I scooted over and made space for her, not wanting to get up and stand just yet. Despite expecting her to lecture me again, I was shocked to see her accept the move and take out a folded blanket from her purse in silence. She laid it out beside me and eventually sat down on it. Oh, come on, you could've... I won't go there again. Letting out a content sigh, as she looked up at the sky. The irritation she showed me earlier practically melted away. Odd.
Thank you.
You're welcome, bitch. Welcome. Welcome. My reply, the girl's lips pressed together into a grimace. She turned her gaze at me, like she was ready to let loose some sort of insult. What did I do now?
Look, you're new here, I get it. You wouldn't recognize me at first glance, but perhaps you've seen me in Youth Vogue? Upcoming Star Mag?
Bitch, do I look like I read those loser magazines? I'm sitting here beating my meat to some Pocket Kiss. I don't got time for those things. What? Magazines? Was she some sort of model or something? Even more so, what did her modeling have to do with anything? As she took in my confused face, the girl shook her head.
My name is Jessika Lunaberg. I'm a model, so my life is usually on a strict schedule of some sort. When something in that schedule changes all of a sudden, it slightly bothers me, alright?
Shit, fine by me, damn. So, like, OCD?
I guess you can say that. I like to keep my schedules unchanged. That includes time meant for just sitting on the grass and looking at the sky, as silly as that may sound.
It doesn't sound silly. Just the other weekend, or I guess just this past weekend, I was looking up at the clouds and everything, you know what I'm saying? I was on like a boat or something. It was relaxing, so I get it, girl, you know what I'm saying? I can relate to you, you know, if that makes any difference. That kind of made sense. I felt a little bad for taking her spot, but at least she didn't yell my ears off about it. She had a legitimate reason for being uncomfortable. Well, she was being a little bit unreasonable, but we'll let it slide, you know what I'm saying? Because we want this to go somewhere, so we're not trying to be mean. When the bell suddenly rang, however, Jessika stood and calmly folded her blanket, looking to me. Oh, she only got like a minute.
You're free to come here if you want, but please leave this spot for me.
Sure thing, I'll just sit up in this tree and beat my meat quietly. Sure, sorry about that. Without another word, Jessika nodded to me and walked back into the building. I followed suit, not wanting to be late to class. Okay, so that was pretty cool. I think the next encounter should be fairly interesting. Alright, so I actually did go back to the mall to see if anything was different. Maybe we could buy some stuff. It's the same stuff. They're busy, so I guess maybe it's not programmed into the game yet. It's like a small taste of what you can do in the exploration, but I guess you just can't pursue it. You know, we'll see next time. I doubt it, but we'll see next time if there's, you know, something we can try. We'll do all mall this time and see what that's about. So I looked over to Jessika. She was a girl I got to know during my short time, and despite stealing her spot in the courtyard during our one moment together, she seemed like the kind of girl I'd have fun working with. I had to make a choice. Everyone slowly began to move, yeah, fate, whatever, and who was I going to choose? And then boom. Okay, now we're going to jump to the next one.
Just a minute, I'm up.
Okay, so we're here at the very first encounter we have for this girl right outside of the school at the school gates. So we're going to see if she has any sort of, like, awareness that things are amiss, and that we know, or that she knows us. Here we go. As I stared through the crowd, oh, bitch, look at her. She's like, who's that? Either that or she's like really impressed by my log. As I stared through the crowd, the model turned her head and locked eyes with me, a look of recognition slowly painting over her expression.
You.
Me. Huh?
Huh? Jessika?
Shh.
What's up?
Be quiet, you freaking fruit-wearing bitch. I'm talking to Jessika. The girl named Jessika continued to stare at me, taking a step in my direction and seeming unfazed by the photographer's question.
Hey, you there.
The crowd around me parted like the Red Sea before I could even blink, putting me in full view of Jessika and the damn, she saw me in the back of the crowd? Oh, it's on. You know we're in the right spot for this. I suddenly became confused at the attention. Me?
Hi?
Shh. She's like totally blowing her off. Just go eat your cherries that you obviously picked out of your mom's fruit basket. Jessika suddenly began to walk towards me and placed her hands on her hips, stopping just in front of me and looking at me up and down with an analytical gaze. I already know, girl. You don't even gotta say anything. We're on the same wavelength, you and me. I almost felt like she was stripping my clothes off. Yes, of me with her eyes, making me shift a bit on my feet. Can I help you, bitch?
You seem familiar.
Well, why? I wonder why. No. The confusion in my head intensified as I listened to her statement. She recognized me somehow. I didn't know who she was, so how could she know me? The photographer stepped up beside Jessika and looked at me up and down with a raised eyebrow.
Are you a friend of hers?
Basically. No, I'm actually new here. Jessica's expression shifted to one of irritation at my answer. I didn't want to make anyone mad on my first day, but I was lost.
Then how do I know you?
That's enough, Jessika.
Oh, damn. From the crowd emerged a woman who had her arms crossed and an authoritarian look on her face towards Jessika and the photographer. Jessika grimaced and leaned on her hip, glaring at the new girl.
Mind your own business.
Yeah, right? Come on, hey, me and her were talking.
You're already causing a traffic jam for everyone with your impromptu photo shoot. Don't waste everyone's time further by harassing a new student.
I wouldn't call it harassing. Can you change up your words and your tone, please? I was enjoying this encounter. I stared at the new girl, seeing her maybe you're just jelly. Seeing her burn in her glare into Jessika as the photographer stepped back, obviously not wanting to get in between them. With a huff, Jessika turned away and waved her hand dismissively, walking away from the area and turning towards the back of the school. The photographer quickly followed, scrambling to get her equipment together and rushing off after. Alright, so here we go at the very first encounter in the classroom, okay? So I guess this is the first time we're introduced to the class. So Jessika, however, straightened up in her chair, stationed by the back corner of the room, and stared hard at me. I fidgeted a bit in place under her gaze, but returned it with a slight smile. Oh, at my smile, her eyes widened a bit. She turned her head and closed her eyes, now seemingly disinterested in my existence. I mean, come on now, you know? We had such a, you know, we were hitting it off in the courtyard. What, you just don't want anyone to know you're interested? I mean, I get you. I can do things on the DL if you want, you know what I'm saying? What was up with her? I took a breath nonetheless and introduced myself. Hello, my name is bitch-ass Riley, and then we're gonna skip. Alright, so we're right here after lunch, after the tour we got, and now we're we're walking to class. So walking to class after the tour became almost a daunting task. How did this school manage to be so huge? Oh. Despite this, I continued on. Ahead of me was a group of students giggling and huddling around the leader and focus of their conversation.
Thanks, Jessika. You're the best.
Oh, would you just get like a blowy or something? I managed to peek in and see Jessika helping out a transgender student with their makeup, stopping only as our eyes met. I froze at her gaze. 1 second, she was smiling and being generous to another student. The next second, she was staring into my soul. Jessika straightened her posture and squinted her eyes at me in slight irritation, causing me to rush past the group towards my class. Ew. What kind of bitch-made move was that? What the heck was that about? What was that move about? You rushed past her all nervous and shit, like you just got pissed or something?
So, what are you playing?
Okay, so we're at the next segment here, okay? And that's like the next, I guess, area we get to encounter her. And it's right after Benny discovers our game, so let's see what's up here.
A dating sim, perhaps?
And she's psychic. How did she guess?
There's no need to press the question if Riley doesn't want to answer.
It's fine. It's a dating sim called Cherry Blossoms.
Never heard of it, but the art looks really retro.
Really? Let me see.
Okay, and she's interested too. Alright, so the teacher just got done telling us about the whole theory thing, right? And now the note slides onto our desk. Before I could think further, a piece of paper silently skidded across the top of my desk into my view. It was folded up rather nicely and gave off a very soft scent. The fuck? Was this somewhere like it was, you just like swipe this through your ass crack or something? Was that perfume? Oh, there's a nice little touch on this one. All the other girls just threw the note over. This one, she spritzed some stuff on it. Like, this is from me. Looking around, no one seemed to be interested in what was going on with me, so I couldn't tell who sent it and how, but I was getting a chub. Still, I was too curious for my own good. I unfolded the piece of paper, unsure of what to expect. Meet in the courtyard at lunch? Oh my god. Something sent a nervous shiver down my spine. Who was asking me out? Why did they want to meet me in the courtyard?
Riley?
Alright, and then we're gonna answer this question.
Since you seem to be...
You know what? Let's actually answer it wrong this time. The fuck is... I know a quantum theory. What's string theory? What the fuck? Chuckles and giggles erupted around me from my answer. I answered incorrectly, didn't I?
No, it's not string theory. Please pay attention.
Yes, sir. At least the teacher didn't notice that I was reading a note. Okay, so that's basically it. Alright, stepping out of the appropriate doors to the courtyard, I couldn't help but take in the large breath of fresh air that invaded my senses. Everything looked surprisingly well kept for what I imagined a public school to have. Maybe I was too lost in the memory of my privileges in private school that I didn't expect good maintenance of schools not funded directly by tuition. Nevertheless, I walked into the courtyard and took in the sights around me. It was a surprisingly quiet and peaceful place. Not many students were there, and none of them looked my way as if they expected me. Who was the one who wanted to see me? I decided to be patient and sat down on the grass, looking up at the sky before leaning back and finally laying on the ground in submission to relaxation. The space was so nice, I didn't fight back as my eyelids closed and I dozed off into my own daydreams. Whoever wanted to see me would wake me up, right? Not busting? Okay, Jessica. When I opened my eyes, I froze. I was shocked to see a very irritated Jessica staring down at me with her arms crossed tightly over her chest. Was she the one who wanted to see me? Why was she mad? Hello?
Hi, I'm glad you're here. Can I have my spot back, please?
Sure thing. Her spot? I grew even more confused as I sat up and looked at her in disbelief. Wait, your spot?
Yes, I sit there for lunch, but since you fell asleep on my spot, I had to eat lunch on the bench. We can talk more after you move, so please?
Sheesh, I didn't know it was such a big deal with her. At least she let me sleep for a little bit. I scooted over and made space for her, not wanting to get up and stand just yet. Despite expecting her to lecture me again, I was shocked to see her accept the move and take out a folded blanket from her purse in silence. She laid it out beside me and eventually sat down, letting out a content sigh as she looked up. Okay, alright, yeah.
Thank you.
It's odd, we get it. After a brief moment, Jessica turned her head to me and leaned back on her arms, relaxing.
You know, I somehow expected you to take my spot, yet despite that I still got irritated. I wonder why. Because
you're a bitch. Huh? What did she mean by that? As she took in my confused face, the girl shook her head.
My name is Jessika Lunaberg. I'm a model, so my life is usually on a strict schedule of some sort. When something in that schedule changes all of a sudden, it slightly bothers me, alright?
So yeah, we get it.
I guess.
Still, it bothered me to wonder why she was expecting me and why she wanted me to come out and see her anyway. So why did you want me to come out here? Jessica took a moment to stare out into space ahead of her before turning to me with a blank expression.
Honestly, I wanted to figure out how I knew you.
I could only stare back at her as she burned her gaze into my eyes, like she was trying to force the windows of my soul to open and with her mind.
Things that make me feel uncertain irritate me. And not knowing how I recognize you makes me feel uncertain. Yet I still can't pin down the answer.
Well, I can solve all this right now. Let me just stand up and drop my trousers. I could tell, just from staring at her, that she was genuine in her interest to know, and that she wasn't lying about knowing me somehow. However, I didn't know her at all. Was I supposed to somehow? When the bell suddenly rang, however, Jessica stood and calmly folded her blanket, looking to me in slight defeat.
Thank you for understanding. You're free to come here if you want, but please leave this spot for me.
Great. Sure, sorry about that. Alright, so I decided to just go home. This time I'll show you this part because it'll be maybe slightly different. Who knows, maybe we'll see the girl walking away. But I visited the mall multiple times and it doesn't look like it's any different at all. So I had no reason to stick around. I wasn't part of any clubs, nor was I interested in joining them with only 2 weeks left before graduation. Walking out to the front, I wasn't the only one eager to get home. Multiple students rushed out of the school, chatting about getting burgers at the local diner or heading out to the local mall. I thought about getting a burger myself, but knowing that I had food at home spurred me to continue forward with home as my sole destination. Besides, I could do a lot when I got home, like play my games, clean the house, and other things. Alright, you know what? This time we'll spice it up significantly. You know, we'll start playing. Let's play some Cherry Blossom. See what happens. Who knows? You decide to play a dating sim. Okay, there were probably other video games I could be playing, but I never really got into them like I did dating sims, especially indie dating sims. There was just something sweet and pure about these games. Life was simple, relationships came easy, and there was something interesting about managing the life of a total stranger and helping them find love. Oops. Plus, I'd be lying if I said I didn't get attached to the girls in these games. Sure, they could be a little one-note at times, but the Good Sims made it very pretty, made it a very pretty and nuanced note. I had amassed quite the collection since I discovered the games, and while most of them were the boy finds girl sort, I did have a few good yaoi something and Atome games to pick from. Somebody please tell me how to say that. It's yoi or something? Still, I had a game that I was busy working through, and as any good gamer was, I had to finish the game to full completion before moving on to a new story. I booted up the game and a familiar window popped open and played a sweetly catchy theme. I smiled as I considered who I might want to romance this time. Ew, how did we get affection from this? What the what is that? That makes no sense, but alright.
Jessica, Benny, do either of you have partners?
Oh my god, is this the same dude that got the blowy in the hallway? Alright, so that basically concludes it. I even went through the lunchtime period very carefully, and I've noticed that in all of my playthroughs so far, even that doesn't change. So, there's no small different interaction. I'm talking about the lunchtime scene where they describe what the scholarship thing or the prize for winning the presentation thing is. Okay, so that doesn't change either. So basically, I guess this doesn't change. This sentence doesn't change. So the last thing that we have to do is really just end this. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. She stared back at me, eyes full of confidence as she ran her hand through her hair. Did she expect me to choose her? Oh, yeah, you want it, don't you? Oh, man, I can't wait to play this game, dude. I can't wait to see what happens in this game, because it could be pretty reckless. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Seduce Me 2, I know it's not the most recent game for Michaela Laws, but Seduce Me 2 definitely took it up a notch in terms of you know, what happens in the game, you know, in terms of, you know, the spicy stuff. So, especially considering what that voice was saying about how we wanted to taste some stuff, this could go very crazily, and I'm very excited. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty pumped. That's all there is to this route, and that's all there is to pretty much all of them. So, again, let me know. Again, I actually think we're gonna have to go one by one. It's actually taking a fair bit to get through all the choices. Granted, I did actually do a bunch of new choices this time and run through them just for the sake of seeing them, you know what I'm saying? And I probably will be doing that again for the rest of the choices, like, for example, studying and playing cherry blossoms in school and all that stuff. So, we'll be doing that in the future, so I'll go one by one. The last girl should be fairly short, because I think by then, we should get through all the choices. I mean, we've already done them all. We've ran rather. We've stayed after for the art class or something. All we have left is play cherry blossoms in the school and study in school, study at home, and that's it. Because we already chose an outfit at home. We've already worked out at home. We've already played cherry blossoms at home. So we already went through most of the choices. We can definitely get through those other choices when we do Kayla next, who will be the next person. Remember, I'm doing Benny last. For my own personal reasons, but yeah, Kayla will be up next. So with that being said, let me know what you thought about this route, which, you know, so far, let me know, so far, by the end of this, I want to hear what your favorite one was, but so far, who's your favorite? I gotta be honest, I know I did her first, but I didn't, and I'm not trying to be biased because of that, but I don't know, I felt like I liked hers the most. I felt like there was the most depth with her story. You know what I'm saying? You got to know a fair bit about her. I think her little interaction in the science lab was very it felt full, you know what I'm saying? It felt like there was a lot of content there. Whereas the other people, I just didn't feel like there was that much. But who knows? Maybe. I liked hers the best so far, though. So we'll see about Kayla. We'll see about this chick. I feel like Kayla's might be interesting. Because I feel like it's going to be... I don't know, you don't know too much about her. She's just kind of bossy, you know, she likes to do a lot of educational stuff, she's fairly organized. This girl, she just likes to take a, I don't know, she just might want to take a picture of my log for all I know. So, with that being said, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Make sure you rate the video, what you think it deserved, like or dislike. It doesn't really matter to me. I just want to know how you guys enjoyed right off the bat. With that being said, if you did enjoy though, consider sharing the video as well. That really, really helps out a lot, whether it's a, you know, Facebook or a Twitter or whatever social media you want, or friends or family, work or school. Any way that you can share the video, if you think the video is deserving, make sure you do that. It helps out a tremendous deal, and you'll be doing a fantastic service to the Sage community, so make sure you do that if you feel like you can. Speaking of that, if you want to become a Sage in training and you haven't already, make sure you subscribe today. This has been MrBayeasy, your favorite Sage, and I'll see you in the next video.